Welcome back to Flip a Fake, the series where I use a simple coin to predict every single NFL game of the upcoming season. This week we're going to have Week 8 predictions, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. For those of you who are new around here, we flip a coin, heads is for the home team, tails is for the away team. Winner gets the win, obviously. If you've missed any of the episodes, go ahead and check up there in the top right corner. Will be an iCard linking you to the entire playlist for this series. And let's go ahead and dive on into this series after you've hit that subscribe button. Alright, we're going to go ahead and lead things off here with the Minnesota Vikings going to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Big flip here, and the Vikings end up getting a big win. Up next, we got the Miami Dolphins going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Big game for Atlanta given the competitiveness of the NFC South. But the Dolphins continue their streak and get a big win. Up next, we got a must-win for the Baltimore Ravens as they are playing host to the Chicago Bears. The AFC North race is tightening, and the Ravens need a big win here if they want to remain competitive. And they do get that win. Up next, we got a critical game for both teams. The Buffalo Bills have been slipping in the AFC East. The Carolina Panthers are trying to remain competitive while being positive in the NFC South. This game in Carolina, but the Bills end up coming out on top. Up next, we got the New York Jets going to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Both of these teams are fighting for their lives at this point. Who wants it more? Well, the coin says the Jets want it more. Up next, we got the San Francisco 49ers going to Houston to take on the Texans. Remember, the Texans have a lot of momentum. They got their first win of the season last week, but they go right back to their old ways of losing with that tails. All right, now we're going to move on to the Cleveland Browns going to New England to take on the Patriots. The AFC North is super competitive. The Browns will need this if they want to remain viable and competitive. The Steelers and Ravens are hot on their tail, but they fold under the pressure and the Patriots win. All right, now we got the New York Giants going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. A big battle in the NFC East that the Giants will come out on top. All right, we got a big one. We knew this matchup was coming. Two heavy hitters in the NFC South. Only one can remain supreme. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Who gets the win? And it looks like the Saints will get a huge win there. All right, now we got the Dallas Cowboys going to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Cowboys needing a win here to keep up with the division, but they end up losing it to the Broncos. Up next, we got the Tennessee Titans going to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Titans need a rebound after last week. Can they do it? It doesn't look like it. The Colts will get a big win. All right, the Steelers have their opportunity here. They're playing host to the Green Bay Packers. If they win, they take the lead in the AFC North. Can they do it, or will they fold to the might of Green Bay and their cheese? Well, the Steelers ended up cutting the cheese on that one. Not sure I used the right analogy on that one, because cutting the cheese would imply the Steelers beat the Packers. They didn't. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to this last game of the week. But before we do, I want to make sure that you guys stick around after this, because we're going to go ahead and dive through a recap of Week 8 on top of the standings and the current playoff standings as we move into the second half of the season. So now let's go ahead and go to the Washington Commanders going to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs in a big Week 8 finale. Who comes out on top? Well, that would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Alright, so this is our recap of the Week 8 games. You can go ahead and take a look at it. Teams in green, as always, are our winners. That will result in these updated standings over here. So we'll go ahead and kind of just briefly scroll through these if you want to take a look more in depth here. You can pause the video, do what you need to do. Just take a look at this more in depth. Really, I'm surprised the NFC South is really shaping up. Yeah, the Panthers are falling off, but I mean, that's incredible. 9 losses combined through 8 weeks in the season. And the NFC West just was doing NFC West things. There's not really much else to say there. It just is what it is. But ultimately, those standings result in these playoff standings as of right now, playoff seedings. The biggest jumps, the AFC had a swap at a 1 and 2 seed from the 5 and 6 seed. And not really much else happening in the AFC. Looking at the NFC, it got a jump, a swap with a 1 and a 5 seed because the Saints beat the Buccaneers. Other than that, not really much movement. There's not really been a lot of movement these last couple weeks. The coin's been consistent. So, let me know your thoughts as to how this series is going and who you think is going to win the Super Bowl down in the comments below. And if you guys did like, don't forget to smash like and subscribe, as it does help me out a whole lot. I'm doing this series because I enjoy it. I really enjoy running the Flip of Fate. But I also want to know that you guys are enjoying it, so a big like helps me with that. And yeah, there's also a subscribe button too. It's free. We want to hit 100 subs before the start of the season, so if you want to be part of that club, go ahead and smash the subscribe button. It'll be popping up below my face shortly. And over there will be a playlist, a link to a playlist for the entire series. So if you've missed any parts of Flip of Fate, make sure you go ahead and check that out. And I guess with that, I will catch you guys later. Peace out and have a good one.